I'll call the meeting to order at 7:30. Roll call, please.
Mr. Boda.
Here.
Mr. Horn.
Here.
Mr. Knotts.
Here.
Mr. Blackstock.
Here.
Mr. Simon.
Here.
Cram here. Mr. Patsalis is excused.
Ralph, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Especially on December the 7th.
John.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Ralph. Next thing on the agenda is the approve the agenda as presented. I would like to add one item under unfinished business, and that would be the opening of the DPW equipment bids that we have here.
So moved. Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported that we add the opening of the DPW bids under old unfinished business. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, we have the approval of the minutes of November 16, 2015.
If there are no additions or changes, I make a motion, we accept the minutes of November 16th, 2015.
I'll support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported that we accept the minutes as presented. Is there any further discussion? Did you have something, Don? It wasn't November 16th? That's what it is.
November 16th. Oh, nice and crossed again.
Oh, okay. All right, and no other further discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to talk to anything that's not on the agenda? Did your people leave?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have the C1, November 10, 2015 Park Commission minutes. C2 is the November 2015 Building Department report. C3 is the November 2015 Revenue and Expenditure report. C4 is the November 2015 Marine City Fire report.
I have a couple of things.
Yeah, Ralph.
Well, first of all, after reading the Park Commission's minutes and visiting the new canoe launch over at the base of Spring, I'd just like to commend the Park Commission and the park employees for all the good work they have done this summer. It really enhanced the place around here. They've been working pretty hard. And it's really noticeable about the township. My second comment is I have to ask a question first. Is this revenue and expenditure report meant only to support some other agenda item, or are we going
Correct.
to get? So, because it's not complete.
It's not complete because we don't have our bank statements in. That'll come in
Okay.
the second report.
In that case, the only comment I have, I'd like to ask about page 520.
520?
Page 5//20, that's the way it's written.
Okay.
Under Watershed Council, well, I think it's the next one after Watershed Council, top of 299 unallocated. Professional services, we had $300 budgeted, and there's been $22,000 expended. And on miscellaneous, we had $1,900 budgeted, and there's been $14,000 expended. If you don't have an answer for that now, I'd like us to
I'm just getting to
why
it.
those numbers are so big.
This one. And this one.
They just kind of stick out like
The
a sore.
professional services is probably because we have Julie on that. You know, the CPA that we've hired part-time. She would probably be under that, unallocated.
Did they move it because they've been putting her under, well, it's in here in one place else. There's another place with some extra money we.
But I'll find out about it. for
Yeah,
you.
I just wondered. And then there's miscellaneous expenses too.
The 14,000?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just like to know, you know, what incurred those, that we had to throw them into those categories, because they
Okay.
obviously something we didn't budget for.
Okay,
Yeah, they jump out at you.
Pardon me?
I say they jump out at you, don't they?
Oh, yeah, that was easy to see. And other than that, I have no comment.
I've got one question.
yeah, go ahead, Don.
On the building report, under DEQ, we have 5446 Point Drive, detached garage, 30 by 30. I thought they could only be 460 or 76 square feet. Where's that done? And this is 900. On the Point Drive? They allowed up to 1,200 now. They changed it. No. They changed it a while back. The plan
They can go to
was-
1,200 square feet.
1,200.
But it depends on the lot size, as long as the lot size will handle it.
You can
There's a
go
rule about how big your lot has to be, but even with the biggest lot, the maximum garage is 1,200, which would be,
When did that change?
it's,
years ago?
it's
Depends-
been
depends on the
several years,
footage.
Don.
The square footage of your lot. I built mine.
Yeah, square footage of your lot limits,
476.
but there is a 1,200 square foot possibility as long as your lot's big enough.
Okay. Is there any other questions on the consent agenda? Guess a motion to accept it as presented?
I'll make the motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported that we accept the consent agenda as presented. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Moving on to disbursements. We have bills of $153,818.23. We have a payroll of $69,036.80. We have ACH payments of $22,453.72 for a total disbursement of $245,308.75.
I'll make a motion we pay the bills in the amount of $245,308.75.
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported that we pay the bills in the sum of $245,308.75. Any further discussion?
A couple of questions.
Okay,
I noticed we have it says a fuel surcharge, which is negative from Enterra Environmental, that's our waste. Did they, our contract had a fuel surcharge depending on if the fuel costed too much. Is this a rebate against that fuel
it
charge?
probably is, yeah, from the,
Okay, well, good. Same page down at the bottom, there is 26 meters. I'm sure that has to go along with our meter update program. It's about $4,000.
and we've
Where
changed.
are those paid from? What fund?
Well,
They should
that
come
was a
out.
question I asked. We collect the money and it goes into the general fund and then we write it out of the general
Yeah,
fund.
it should go into the water fund portion of the general
Right, and
fund.
then we pay it out of that.
So that way the money that's collected gets paid against the meter. I don't think we need a separate meter fund, so as long as everything is paid out of the water fund, if you see what I mean.
Okay, or pay out of the water.
If you pay for the meters out of the water fund, because all the water income goes into that fund, and you use that to pay water and sewer authority, and you could use it to pay the meters, for example. Okay, and the last question I have is same page, St. Clair County Road Commission, $5,000 for some rubber crack repair. Did we do something?
Yeah,
on
they
that?
do that, I signed those, yeah, they just did some here about a month ago, and they're a little slow getting our invoices to us.
Are we on the hook for that? Doesn't the
Oh, no,
county
we
do
gotta
that
do
work?
that. We actually budgeted this year, I think, $22,000 for doing rubber crack repair.
That's on our streets, not the county roads.
Yeah, it's not on M29, it's
not
on,
on M29.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
like if we
Side
did up
streets.
by where D lives, or, not Meisner Road, but, if we did Point Drive, or we did one of the subdivisions. yeah.
Okay, thank
We're on
you.
the hook for that, yep.
Okay, I have no other questions.
Okay. So no other questions on the disbursements? If not, roll call, please.
Mr. Blackstock.
Yes.
Mr. Knotts.
Yes.
Mr. Horn.
Yes.
Mr. Boda.
Yes.
Cram, yes. Mr. Simons.
Yes. Motion carries. We pay the bills. Moving on to new business, we have a proposed 2015 audit. This is for next year's audit from Stewart, Bovee, and Whipple. They dropped this off about 10 days ago. And going through it, if you go to page 4, they talk about the fees.
Those are considerably higher than last year, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually brought last year's with me. I had them pull a copy of that up. Last year was 11,800, I think.
Was that the total cost when we were all done
Well,
with the
no,
extras?
No, that was their, what did they propose? I know we paid more because we had them do extra work, but what did they propose? This just looked a lot larger proposal to me. I was curious.
I know I brought that with me. What did I do with it?
I'd like to see them incorporate that all into one.
Pardon me?
I'd like to see them incorporate that all into one.
Well,
figure.
we have the options of doing those other things. The base price is $12,000. And then if you read on there, then it's $575 for preparation of the F-65, which our CPA and our bookkeeper says we can't do that. Then the next thing on there is $2,000 for that Gatsby. This is a new thing that the state is requiring. This is the first year of it. So what he told me is it's going to be $2,000 this year, and after that, it's going to be $500. I called and questioned all this stuff, and I've got the letter that I got from Mr. Hoskins. And it says here, we called them, we wanted a copy of all of our last audits, on how much we paid them over the years. I won't read the whole thing to you, but I'll jump on this one about the 2000. This Gatsby standard, 68 and 71 implementation. This is a very significant standard, and a separate fee has been designated in the proposal engagement letter. This is a one-time fee to establish the presentation and disclosure in the financial statement. In the future, the fee and update this annual will only be $500. The other items listed on the engagement letter are discretionary. We will only charge up to, not exceeding, that cost. If you can prepare the items on the list, there will be no charge. We anticipate working with you to assist in the transition of the items that we have assisted the township over to you. So in other words, some of this stuff we can do by having the preparation will cut these costs. It may not be 2,000, or that one will be 2,000, but like the one down there we will also charge not to exceed $1,200 in assisting and updating the provisions of the fixed assets and depreciation schedule. The more we can do to have that ready, the less that will be, but if we had them do the whole thing, it will not exceed $1,200.
Yeah, it's going to jump it up close to 15 grand.
It's gonna. We paid quite a bit last year for the audit because,
How much would it have been without the extra charges? What did they propose initially? Wasn't it $9,000? That's why I was.
no, that $9,000 you're thinking was to do the ready to serve was $9,000.
Okay.
I've actually got that here.
All right.
I know I got last year.
Well, I know that, we're stuck with this any way it goes.
Yeah,
Frankly, loading our people down to try to do some of this stuff where we're saving against $12,000 is $150 or $250 or $350 probably is not worth it. I wouldn't put those on our people if it's going to take away from their normal duties.
Is this the only bid we got on this?
Those numbers are chicken feed compared to the major cost.
Right.
We don't want to get our people into difficulty while they're trying to spend doing some things that perhaps the auditors can do real easy because they're used to doing it, where our people would struggle with it.
Is this the only bid we got on the?
It is. And he said he could make this a 3-year contract. The last go-around we had with Stewart, Bovee, and Whipple was a 3-year contract, and they honored it for the 3 years.
Yeah, and then last year he done extra work and then ate some of it.
Well, last year he did extra work to the
On the
tune of
water
about
plant, yeah.
$13,000.
Yeah.
Does he want to, is he offering us the 12,000 for 3 years?
He mentioned it to me, it doesn't state it in here, but he said he would make this 3 years if we wanted to go 3 years.
But is it gonna keep it at 12?
I'm gonna say if he keeps it at 12, that, I'd be interested.
I said I was interested, but, well, we could, if we pass it, we could make it pending, he'll do a 3-year contract.
I'm sure since it's a 12, this $2,000 is required by the state, we're being reimbursed by the state for the $2,000, right? No?
I wouldn't think so.
they're making us do that new thing. They're not gonna
Isn't
pay
that,
us to get
didn't they have a
audited
new law
for it.
about, what they mandated things they're supposed to pay us for?
Yeah.
They're not
No,
gonna
they
give you
don't.
no money back, Ralph.
But we're really anticipating this year, this audit, which will start in March, that it's gonna go, the office staff has been struggling since Sharon's been gone, but we've been figuring a lot of stuff out. And I
Good.
think we're getting a handle on everything, a good handle. The reporting is it's just excellent. They're just getting, if I ask for reports, I can get them like that. And,
Well, good.
it makes a big difference in this board doing their job. I think you're really gonna see it come to light.
But, everybody else is agreeing. I would like to motion that we accept this and that we agree to entertain this as a 3-year contract at the same rate of $12,000 and pending supervisors obtaining concurrence from Stewart, Bovee, and Whipple.
I'll support that.
Okay, it's been moved and supported that we accept this from Stewart, Bovee, and Whipple as long as the terms are a 3-year,
Right.
like we had before.
Mhm.
In my conversation with Mr. Hoskins, he told me that they would probably do that, so I'll have to double check with them, and we'll make that pending this, like you said, with the motion. So is there any further discussion on the motion?
You might want to change that to we just accept this for the 1 year and to extend it to 3 years if available. I don't
Okay.
want to make it that we're not going to accept this unless it is 3 years. I wouldn't think you want to do that, would you?
And I guess one other thing I should clear up before we vote on this is it going to be the bookkeeping and the supervisor's decision on what of these other things we're going to do? We're not going to do them all. We're going to, whatever we can do at a cost-saving rate, I want to do that.
I would think that's supervisor's business myself. Whatever you can, you gotta
Okay.
do that.
Because I don't want to say in this motion that we're accepting all these things and we're not
Yeah.
going to accept them all.
If you think we can save money on it, why go
Yeah, I
for it?
think we can, and the girls have already assured me that some of this we can do,
Okay.
so,
Yeah, the options would be at the supervisor's discretion.
yeah. so
Yeah, I wrote the motion with the 12,000 is what we're accepting.
With the option of the other items on the list, how's that?
Okay.
That work for you, Ralph?
Yeah.
We got another $2,000 because that fee they said they have to have.
Yeah, we have to do the
So
$2,000
that's gonna
one,
be $14,000 there, plus everything else you might pick.
but those are in the added items, so we're doing the 12,000, the base contract.
2,000 you said was mandatory from the state.
Well, unless we can do it, which I don't think we can do it. Those are one of the things, I'll make the decision, and the bookkeeper and our CPA to have them do it. Does that work for you, Don?
Yep.
Okay, so we have the motion, no further discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Boda,
Yes.
Mr. Blackstock,
Yes.
Mr. Knotts,
Yes.
Mr. Horn,
Yes.
Cram, yes. Mr. Simons?
Yes, motion carries. Okay, next, we're moving on to one other thing about Stewart, Bovee, and Whipple. They're gonna be coming to your sewer and water authority. They gave me the proposal for them too, but you guys will be voting on that. So that's coming
They're gonna
at your next
update.
meeting. Probably what you got in your packet there.
Yeah, that's next week.
Yeah.
Update the new rates and with them.
And the next, we have a sewer credit request for Gerald Noyes. Noyes, that's you? Okay. And it's on Bell River Road. Gerald's filled out a little letter here. You have it in your packet there.
I see Blaine was over there working, and he checked it out, and he said everything that was on was outside, so it's gotta be a valve that's running outside, not going through the sewer.
Right, and that's what
So,
you thought, wasn't it,
and-
Gerald, that
and-
you were gone away and,
We,
Where the water went, 77,000 gallons,
yeah,
miles away.
right.
we,
And you found the outside faucet was on, or somebody had turned it on, or,
Somebody turned it on and turned it off, probably a week later.
yeah.
Was there evidence of a
could
lot
have
of
been your sprinkler
water?
system, guys, like you said.
No, and I shut all the toilets off.
I was gonna say, are you confident that you didn't have a toilet running?
No, you shut them off, yeah.
Well, I noticed that Blaine didn't express an opinion on the matter.
We
We
do this,
usually ask him to do that.
we do this in the past, Larry, and I'm gonna make a motion that Blaine has checked it out to give him $363.30 on sewer credit.
I'll support it.
Okay, it's been moved and supported that we allow Gerald to have the $363.30 sewer credit for the water not going into the sewer. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
What did they do about the sewer?
Well, if the water doesn't go through the sewer, this is what you're saving by not having the water go through our sewer and go into our sewer plant to be processed. That's why we can give you that, if we're sure that it didn't go into our sewer systems. So if it ran out on the ground and it ran into the river, we didn't have to treat it.
I don't know where it went.
Yeah.
It wasn't home.
Yeah.
My neighbors said that they didn't see anything.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Well, I guess you have to shut your main off next time you go, and get that done.
Shut the outside faucet down.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if I go away for more than a day or so, I go down in my basement where the meter is, and there's a valve on each side of the meter. Just shut one of them off. It shut right off at the meter, and then I got
Kills them
caught
all.
because I had gone for a week and a half, and the bottom blew out of my hot water tank. So with the valve shut off, now I don't, there's no pressure on the system, so you don't lose anything. But I had a basement full of water when I came back. So I highly recommend shutting the water off if you're not going to be in the house for several days. Shut it right off at the meter.
The reason I left it on because the neighbors would use the water, to.
About 77,000 gallons, apparently.
Maybe they were hooking it up to their house.
Maybe they filled their pool.
Okay.
Okay, moving on, we have an agreement with St. Clair High School and the senior parents. I couldn't remember if we did this last year or not.
Yes, we did.
We did? Because I looked it up and they said we didn't, but
I thought the only ones that we were doing
We
were
did
the
Marine
senior
City and
citizen
St.
stuff.
Clair.
I thought we could do these because it's getting the kids off the street on a
I checked
bad
with the
night.
state on that, and they said it was all right. This whole night party was okay. The information that the MTA gave me at
Right.
Mohawk, she didn't know what she was saying.
We've
She
been
said
doing
I
it quite
couldn't
for
do it. I
some.
called the state, and they said,
Yeah.
yes, you can do it.
Okay.
I know we can, as long as we list them like we're doing a service here. They're
Right.
doing a service for us. But
They're
I
doing a
was-
service for us.
I was just wondering, didn't we, it's the one time, we get a lot of these.
Well, we had the Little League.
We cut down the ones that we were gonna do and the ones that we were not gonna do.
We used to give them 100, and we cut it down to 50 years ago.
I wonder, if you guys think we've been doing it, okay.
Well, make the motion.
You need a motion for that?
Somebody want to
Larry?
read the agreement? Or you want me to?
I'll be happy to read the agreement. I wanted to make a motion that we perhaps instead of 50, we give them 100.
Well, when you get down to that part, put 100 in instead of 50.
I don't want to throw anything at me.
Well, you just gotta
You-
remember that once you do that, they're all gonna do it. You're gonna have
we'll
Marine,
have to do
you're
the
gonna
same.
have,
Okay.
Marine
I'll
City.
read it.
Marine City and the,
So it's going to be 200, that's all it is.
It's just the two of them, Marine City and St. Clair.
Okay, this agreement made and entered into on the 7th day of December 2015 by and between the China Township of East China, herein referred to as a township, and the St. Clair High School Parents Association, hereinafter referred to as the association. Whereas the association is a nonprofit corporation providing a safe all-night party for the graduating class, and whereas, in accordance with MCL Public Act 368 of 1978, Section 333.613, the township wishes to make available these services to graduates within its corporate boundaries, and whereas the association can provide the services desired by the township. Now, therefore, it is agreed that 1, the association shall provide services to graduates of the township. 2, the township shall pay in consideration of the services provided by the association the sum of, I want to change that to $100.
Okay.
3, the sum of money paid by the township shall be for the term commencing on the 7th day of December 2015 and concluding on the 7th day of December 2016. 4, this agreement can only be extended if agreed to in writing by the respective parties of each board with a written agreement covering a specified period of time and a specified consideration. 5, there shall be no oral modification of the agreement which binds the parties.
I'll support that motion, Don.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. All in favor? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Does this require
I was wondering if a roll call probably, huh?
probably the last one?
I don't even know if it,
We had the last 3, there's supposed to be roll calls.
what's that?
The last 3, I think, where we're spending
Well,
money is
the
supposed
sewer
to
credit,
No, that's not
We
an
didn't.
expenditure.
Would we have to have a roll call on
we
that?
roll called on the
No,
first
this
one,
money?
we didn't roll call on the
be.
sewer.
Okay.
This will be a roll call.
Are we ready for that?
We're ready.
Okay. Mr. Blackstock.
Yes.
Mr. Knotts.
Yes.
Mr. Horn.
Yes.
Mr. Boda.
Yes.
Cram, yes. Mr. Simons.
Yes. Motion carries. We'll
Marine City will
pay
be next.
$100. Okay, now I gotta get back to my original sheet. I lost it. Where did I put that? All right, next thing on the agenda is the appoint Joe Boyer to the Beautification Committee through December 31st, 2018.
I'll make a motion, we appoint Joe Boyer to the beautification committee through December 31st, 2018.
No support, because I work with her.
It's been moved and supported that we appoint Joe Boyer to the Beautification Committee. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next thing, item 5, is appoint Greg Town to the Zoning Board of Appeals through December 17, 2018.
I think that's a reappointment, isn't it?
Yeah, it probably is a reappointment. Well, they're all,
these people.
they're all
They're all-
reappointments.
They're all reappointed.
You're doing a good job. I will make a motion to approve that.
I'll support.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we reappoint Greg Town to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have reappoint Ralph Knotts to the St. Clair Sewer and Water Authority through December 31st of 2020.
You know, I asked Sandy if I get out of this, and she said no.
Yeah, she told you you couldn't.
I'll
Right,
make,
she told me that.
I'll make that motion.
All right, it's motion by Herb and seconded by Mr. Boda. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? He is appointed. Next, we have reappointment of Robert Freehand to the Planning Commission through December 18, 2018.
I'll make that motion, reappoint Bob.
No, Go ahead.
It's been moved and seconded that we reappoint Bob Freehand to the Planning Commission. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Freehand is reappointed. I'd just like to add that all these people that serve on all of our committees do a great job, and it's very little money, if any, for the stuff that the decisions that they have to make. And all these people are right involved with the township. Okay, moving on to unfinished business. We have the ambulance service agreement. I brought this to you 2 weeks ago. This was given to me by Mr. Ken Cummings. You asked if I could take it to the attorney and get his opinion. I did that. What I did with it, I don't know. I got a copy of the letter. He said, fine, go ahead, it's fine to sign it. But I mean, if you want me to read you the whole letter, I can do that too.
Okay for me.
I have reviewed the agreement and recommend approval by the Township Board. This is from Mr. Zick's office.
There we go.
They're just putting the burden on the township to collect.
No, there's no money involved in this
No,
agreement at
no, I
all,
mean to
Don.
collect the fees.
No, we collect nothing for this.
Okay.
This is at no cost to the township at all. It would be an extravagant
service.
cost, as Mr. Boda and I know with the fire authorities, if we had to have an ambulance service. It cost about $750,000 to furnish an ambulance for 1 year.
Oh, yeah.
This is, and I'll explain it because I went up there and went through this, is the Tri-Hospital EMS. It was formed by the 3 hospitals in Port Huron, and they subsidized it for the first few years, and now it's actually holding its own. So they collect the money, and they've got the county split up into sectors, and they shift ambulances around. When one leaves, another one moves up to cut response times. And this is at no cost to the townships.
So they collect the money from the insurance.
They collect all the
providers.
money, they do
Okay.
everything, they do, I mean, we do
Okay.
nothing. But yet we have really good ambulance
Yes,
service.
we do.
So I highly recommend it, and I think they do a great job for us.
Don't have any problem with that. I think they do a fantastic job. Glad to have them. I just want to make sure that the board is comfortable with the fact that this agreement says on an exclusive basis. And does that mean that should some other provider try to come in here, that we have to deny them?
And I also think we can get out of there in so many days, too. I think it was in there, I read that in there on how
I
you
mean,
get
I
out of it.
don't see that happening, but
180 days.
How much control do we even have? They're all being dispatched
Yeah.
by the,
What's that, Herb?
how much control do we have over this? They're being dispatched by,
We have
County
no
dispatch.
control of it all.
Yeah.
so.
I wouldn't, yeah, I was wondering if we could even say.
Well,
How would we
given-
dispatch
How
them?
we give them an exclusive,
We have no way of contacting
Okay.
an ambulance.
never
You
mind.
call 911 and dispatches.
it goes through the central
That's the
dispatch
one that
at the
comes
county.
out.
I don't know why they put that in there then.
Yeah. But and Mr. Boda just assured me, and I heard the same thing when he presented to our fire board, that we could get out of this at so many days, 30 days or something, with 30-day notice. I'm pretty sure we can get out of it. One party upon 180 days prior written notice to the other party. It's right here on page 3.
Yeah, it's on there, 180 days.
That's 6 months.
Correct. But if somebody wants to bid,
Well,
it's
since we're
gonna
not
take a while.
paying anything, we don't care if it takes 6
Right.
months
Right.
or not. I'll make a motion that we approve the ambulance services agreement between East China Township and the Tri-Hospital Emergency Medical Services Corporation.
Been moved and supported that we accept the agreement with Tri-Hospital. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Didn't need a roll call, no money involved there. All right, next thing we have, what we added onto the agenda is the adding of the DPW equipment bid openings. It was advertised in the paper, the deadline was, I don't know, yesterday or something? December 7th, 4 o'clock today was the deadline. So I've got all these bids. There's a list. We had some reserves. I have the list of the reserves here. Our clerk is going to keep control of all this stuff, and we'll go from there. So I guess we just start, they're just envelopes. I don't know what they're bidding on. There was like 20 items, so I'll open the first one, and we'll see what we got.
These are items that we are selling. Is that
Excess
correct?
equipment.
Excess equipment, thank you. But you're not buying nothing, all right.
No, we're not buying nothing
All right.
yet. Okay, I got, this is Nathan Longley.
I think we're gonna need to keep these, tally them up, and figure out who's the high bidder.
Where's the minimum bid on that one? Where was
That's
the
here.
reserves? You see, he didn't meet the reserves on that one, that one, that one, that one. He didn't meet the reserves on any of them till we get down here to the salt spreader. He bid $100 on the salt spreader, $100 on the trash pump, 75 on that one, 50 on that one, 200 on the gas saw, and 500 on the Ferris motor.
So he made the minimum bid
Yep.
on that.
So I guess what we will do is we'll have to go through and separate these all once we open them all up. It's up to you, I guess, to keep track of what we're doing here.
If they all turned them in like this, that's gonna be pretty easy. It's just,
Correct, yeah, but right now he's,
You might get bids on some of the same items, might be.
right, and I'm sure it's gonna
You're
be.
gonna do a spreadsheet on that, there's no other way to do that.
Yeah,
But you-
see,
at least
most
you-
of them put it all right on the sheet.
At least you can announce who in fact have submitted bids, and then we'll.
This one here is from Mr. Don Chop. He bid on the Waco sign, $16.50.
not enough. 3.
Oh,
Oh,
you got the
okay.
guy's bid.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, that's not enough.
So he's got a bid on that, and he
Yeah.
bid on the hydro seeder, he bid 1,600.
No, that one's
Didn't
too
meet the
low.
minimum. The tractor, he did 29,
Yeah, he's high on that.
and the salt spreader, he went 350.
Okay.
That other guy went 100, didn't he?
Yeah, this is gonna need a spreadsheet till we,
Okay,
To be
well,
able
I'll
to-
let the clerk do the spreadsheet after we open
Yeah,
these.
you're gonna have to go through them and get the highest bidder there.
Yeah, you gotta put bidders, items, total prices.
Yeah,
Highlight
like
the
you
one-
said, it's gonna take a
Highlight
spread.
the winner.
Hey, if they all did it on here, it should be a lot easier. This one, the line trimmer, he bid 200,
that one didn't have a minimum.
okay.
And
The
this
hydro
got in-
seeder, 2,000.
Wow.
No, this is a boom. This is Mike Zobel.
Not enough,
What was the boom?
25.
And he's at 2,000, so he's only qualifies for one. The names, make sure we got the names on all these, so,
Yeah, write that, whose bids they are.
yeah.
Yeah, it's right on the paper.
Well, if they all did it this way, it'll make
You know
our
what,
life
once
a
we
lot.
have our little spreadsheet, I know we ask for minimums, but when you bring that spreadsheet back in about announcing who got what and who didn't make the minimums, we ought to be able to reconsider our minimums if we get a
Close.
reasonable bid. Because the object, of course, is to get rid of this stuff.
Okay, this is TK and Associates, Tom Kaufman. $50 on the trimmer, the New Holland, he bid $1,000.
No.
No. The Waco, 500, the Cedar, 1,800, no.
No.
Tractor, 27, he
He's
already
over,
had a
yeah.
bid of 29.
Yeah, so what do you
The
think?
Tiger Hydro Boom mower, he bid 3,500 on that.
Yeah, he's high on that.
And then, he's made a change here, so I'm turning all these over to you and you can handle this. The walk behind brush cutter, 750.
No,
The thumb, 750.
no, he's over on that.
The backhoe,
No, no.
that's Mr. Kaufman. God, I can't believe we got this many bids on all this stuff.
Maybe we'll get rid of some of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and if we don't, we have some other stuff we're gonna add to this too.
Get it right.
This is
Buy a
Ames
new
Plumbing.
mower. Big one.
The Waco sign, 750, the tractor, 1,500, the Salt Air, 50, generator, 11. He's high bid on that one. Trash pump, 100, he's high on that one, he's got that.
No, maybe not. He may be tied with this first guy.
There's two of them, wasn't there, 100?
And then you can see he bid $900 on that mower, which we had 1,000, oh, we had 500 on it, okay. Can you translate that all right?
Mm-hmm.
And this one is from Joe Henninger in East China, and he's bidding on the chainsaw $1.99. And he bid on some of this stuff here, $26 on that. And I think he'll be the owners of those so far.
All right, I'm gonna, will you just initial next to this one that changed?
Yeah, especially where it's
on
been
there
changed.
When we opened it, so that, I'm gonna do this one too.
Sorry this is taking so long, but I thought this was the most fairest way to do it, that we open them and read what they're bidding on.
Thanks.
This is our ex-employee Jim Merrill. A line trimmer, $30. Waco sign, 1,001. Tractor, 32. He didn't meet that.
That's a high bid on that tractor, ain't it, that 32?
I think it is.
I think it was 29, the next one.
Yeah, 32, I think it was the highest.
Yeah, he's probably the highest on that tractor. That comes with that Woods mower, that old Woods mower that goes on it too. And the leaf vac, gas engine, he bid $350 on that.
325.
$325, so he'll be so far he's got that. And that walk behind brush cutter, 1,001. I don't think we had any bids on that. But like Dee said, this is gonna take a spreadsheet and she can do it, or I don't want her to take possession of all this stuff. I don't want it.
Yeah, that's fairly easy to do
Oh.
with the spreadsheet.
Bid for Outback brush cutter,
That's this one, okay.
$1,044, Mark Biano.
Oh, that's high on that one.
Yeah, have you seen that thing?
No, I never seen any
It
of
looks
it.
like the day it came out of the showroom.
I never seen any of it.
You didn't go over and look? I went over.
You don't need to brush up?
Blaine did a great job of displaying it, and everything out there ran.
Hell no, I'm trying to
Everything
get rid
he
of
had,
some
they
of
got
my
running.
stuff.
No, they've been taking good care of all that stuff. You know,
Oh.
people who get that will get stuff that works because the DPW guys took care of it.
This is our Steve Stewart. He's our cemetery guy. He bid on the New Holland backhoe attachment. He bid $1,500. He doesn't meet the posted minimum.
Yep.
Did he?
He did not meet the posted minimum.
Okay. The last one. This is Progressive Saw down here on River Road.
That's Danny.
Huh?
Danny.
Danny, yep. He bid the estate line trimmer, $20. The home light, 1.5-inch gas pump, $20. And the partner K700 gas saw, $20. So I think we've got higher bids on all that stuff.
Those were probably people.
So that completes the bids. So it was very nice that everybody bid on it and everybody put their name. I guess probably tomorrow afternoon, we should have all this figured out and we'll know.
Yep.
The people will be able to notify who got what.
Can I keep this one too?
That's the minimum.
Right.
That's the reserves, I should say. Yes.
I'll need that to make the spreadsheet.
What's that?
The ones that don't meet the minimum.
Yeah, we had a
they have to
reserve
rebid.
number on the piece of equipment.
Please require
Larry?
minimum amount accepted.
Right. I say if it didn't meet the reserve, Blaine seems to think we should keep it till spring.
Okay, and then bid it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we'll have more stuff by spring.
Maybe I'll bid next,
Well, I'd like to see the one, you know,
I'll bid next spring.
the ones that don't make the reserves. I think you have to bring them back up to the board, and look at what the bids that we have, that if we want to reconsider the reserve.
We can do that. Did you hear what Ralph said? We're gonna let anybody that met the reserves, the highest bid above the reserve, we're gonna let that piece of equipment go.
Yep.
And then we'll take a second look at the people that bid under the reserve.
For
If
items
you
that
want,
didn't
if-
sell.
Just
We
in
don't
case
get
the
a
first-
winning bid.
ca-
Let's
case
take a
first
look
one
at the
doesn't
reserve
sell.
bids. We may want to make
Adjustment.
want to make an adjustment. I don't know that we do, but I think we ought to look at it.
But I think we should go by what our superintendent says too, or, Blaine. Let's let him,
Was this stuff on the list too?
that was, yeah, two of those items were 26 something.
Yeah, there were bids on a couple pieces from over there.
What's the bid on one of those? What's the reserve on one of the monitors?
There's no
No
reserves on
reserves.
that stuff, anything there. So. Okay, is everybody satisfied with how we're doing the bid thing? You got a handle on it then, Dee?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. That finishes the unfinished business then. So we're all in agreement that if they're over the reserves, then they can get their stuff right away, and if not, we're either gonna bid it in the spring, or we're gonna look at what we had turned in. But I say we should do it in the spring, because I think if they didn't meet the reserves, then it's not fair to the rest of the people to just be putting in the bids. But as long as we have the room to store it, which I believe we do,
No problem, handle it.
I can handle it. All right, moving on to resolution 15-2015, 2016 Township Board meeting schedule. It's basically the same first and third Mondays of the month, except for when the holiday falls. I can read it.
What's that?
What's that? Resolution 15-2015, establishing meeting dates of the Township Board for 2016. East China Township, County of St. Clair, Michigan. Minutes of the regular meeting held at the Township Board of East China Township, St. Clair County, Michigan, held in the Township Hall on 7th day of December 2015 at 7:30 p.m. The following resolution was offered by myself. Be it resolved that the Township Board of East China does hereby establish that there will be 2 regular meetings, monthly meetings held at the Township Board for the year 2016 as follows. All regular meetings will be held at the Township Hall at 5111 River Road, East China. Meetings will be held on the first and third Mondays of each month and shall begin promptly at 7:30. Dates of the meeting are as follows: January 4th and 18th, February 1 and 16, March 7 and 21, April 4 and 18, May 2 and 16, June 6 and 20, July 5 and 18, August 1 and 15, September 6 and 19, October 3 and 17, November 7 and 21, December 5th and 19th. All resolutions and pre-part resolutions in so as they conflict with the provisions of this resolution will be the same hereby are rescinded.
Support.
Your support, it's been supported. Any further discussion on the meeting minute, dates? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have our meeting schedule. Next, we have Resolution 16-2015, Performance and Indemnification. And this has to do with the,
State, doesn't it, the highways?
the MDOT. We do this every year. I can read it real quick. Minutes, Resolution 16-15, minutes of the regular meeting of the Township Board of East China, Charter Township, County of St. Clair, Michigan, held at the Township Hall on the 7th day of December 2015 at 7:30. The following resolution was offered by myself. Whereas East China Charter Township hereinafter referred to as the governmental body, from time to time makes application to the Michigan Department of Transportation, hereinafter referred to as a department, for permits, whereinafter referred to as permits to construct, operate, and to maintain utility or other facilities, or to conduct other activities on, over, and under trunk line right-of-ways at various locations within the adjacent to its corporate limits. Now therefore, in consideration of the department granting such permit to the government body, agrees that it will faithfully fulfill all permit requirements and will indemnify, safe, harmless, represent and defend the State of Michigan Transportation Committee and the department and all officers, agents, and employees thereof, and those governmental bodies performing permit activities for the department and all officers, agents, and employees thereof pursuant to the maintenance contract of any and all claims of every kind for injuries to or death of any and all persons and for loss and damage to property, the environmental damage and degradation, and from attorney fees and related costs arising out and under or by reason of the presence of the government body facilities and/or its installation, construction, operation, maintenance, and other activities which are being performed under the terms of the permit on, over, or on, over, and or under the state trunk line right-of-way except for claims resulting in the sole negligence or the willful acts of omissions of said department. Its officers, agents, employees, and contractual government bodies and officers, agents, and other agents and employees thereof performing permit activities.
Yeah, you took several breaths, but that's all one sentence. You weren't supposed to
I know,
stop.
I did it all fast. The department, there should be no subject to obligations and liabilities by the vendors,
There's no
contracts.
period in the whole thing.
There's more to it. I guess I don't have to read all that. This is something we do, and I'm presenting this, and be it further resolved that the following position or positions are hereby authorized to make application to the Michigan Department of Transportation for the necessary permits to work within the trunk line right-of-way on behalf of the governmental bodies.
I support.
Been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? I have some. As you know, we're doing that water line up on the north end. It ruptured last February, the one that goes underneath M29, right at the city limits of St. Clair. I've applied for that permit. Haven't got it yet. Wade Trim's working on it. It's just turned into a big nightmare to get that water line underneath there.
That's gotta come from the state, don't it?
Correct, and Wade Trim's telling me, the state's telling them that we gotta do soil borings, we gotta do all this other stuff before they'll give us a permit. The soil borings are like $5,000, and I just want a directional bore, a new line
Yeah.
underneath there. Wade Trim's talking about pipe fracturing the line. I think I'm gonna personally call this department and talk to them myself and see. We've
That's
got all
high.
these lines that go underneath on M29. Why are we doing a boring sample?
Yeah, that's high for a permit for a
So
new.
that's an ongoing thing that we got
Well,
going.
the pipe fracturing one was, that, but if he's following the old pipe, he doesn't have to worry about hitting anything.
Right,
That's why they do the
fracturing of the pipe.
pipe fracture. He just drives it right inside the old pipe.
Well, they
and
exploded.
Splits it.
Yeah.
Splits the pipe open. That way you don't have to worry about running over
Put it
telephone
right inside
lines,
of it.
power lines, anything
It's a little
else.
smaller, but it'll do the same.
No,
job.
same size.
Is it the same size?
Yep.
Gonna bust it out
It
then,
just breaks it open.
okay.
You know, the reason they do that, Don, is to keep from hitting anything else.
Right.
As long as they follow the old track, they won't run into nothing.
But that's an ongoing thing. But it has to do with getting that permit. So we are doing our obligation and getting the permit, so. With that, and no other discussions, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next thing on the resolutions is the amending the 2015 budget. Mr. Treasurer, would you like to do that one?
Resolution 17-2015, amending the 2015 budget to increase general fund, township improvement fund, building inspection department, and township capital projects fund. Minutes of the regular meeting of the Township Board of East China Township, County of St. Clair, Michigan, held in the Township Hall on May 7th, on the 7th day of December 2015 at 7:30 p.m. Whereas a result of unanticipated changes in the revenues and needed expenditures, it is necessary to modify the aforesaid budget, and whereas there is a legitimate need for amendments to the 2015 budget due to unforeseen changes in the expenditures, and whereas the East China Township Board has received the need to increase the general fund, township improvement fund, building inspection department, and township capital projects fund. Now therefore be resolved, the East China Township Board of Trustees approves this resolution to amend the 2015 budget as attached. All resolutions and parts of resolutions insofar as they conflict with the provisions of this resolution be and the same hereby are rescinded. I make a motion to accept the resolution.
I got one question. How come we're doubling the building inspection fund?
Well, our building is doubled.
I had the same question, but since we don't have
Well-
a budget for that, where's the
Let me
offset,
explain.
where is the offsetting revenues?
The
Yeah,
money
it's-
from the building permit comes in and it's in revenue.
Yep.
It goes into the general fund.
Yep.
Well, when we do the budget, we set the budget for the building inspector, the mechanical inspector, the plumbing, based on what our sales were the year before. So when we've had a lot more permits and a lot more building in the township, our fund is low. These items are of no cost to the
Yeah,
township.
but he gets 75% of the permit.
I know. These
And there
are
were
of
that
no
many
cost to the
permits.
township. The permit money is there.
Okay.
Those items there, all those,
I don't object to the amounts. What I'm saying is we are changing our budget to reflect an increase in expenditures, but we are not changing the budget to reflect the increase in revenues.
Yep.
All of these are increases in expenditures. And so the question, it begs the question, where's the money coming from? Because we don't have a corresponding
the money is coming,
adjustment to the budget revenue.
it's coming from the general fund. We're just transferring the money over because the budget is short. And those items, we've never had it presented this way since I've been on the board.
No, this is first time it's this way.
And it spells each thing out. I went through each one of these activities with the bookkeeper, and she's anticipating this is what these expenses are gonna be. All right, well, where does the expense come out for the demo that we did? It's gotta come, we didn't budget for that. Same with the Parks and Rec. You know,
Okay, what I'm getting at is page 12-20. You have a department for building inspection department, building permits, electrical permits, mechanical permits, plumbing permits. Those all have a budget to them.
Correct.
In revenue, what you are amending is the expenses.
And you're
But
adding,
we actually know we're getting more revenue, therefore those budget numbers for the revenue should also be amended.
But do we have to state increased revenues for
It
the
should.
end of the year balance? We
I
have
think
to
it
do that?
should, Larry, to offset that.
I don't know the answer to that, but I'll find out. So you're talking about where are the revenues coming from? You want another column in
I
here?
would have expected that for at least for the building and electrical, mechanical, and plumbing, I would have, since those are paid
all
for out
jumped
of
up.
increased revenues, that there would have also been on this sheet adjustments to the budget for revenues for that department.
Yeah, they almost all of them doubled.
You know,
Right.
because
Well, they all go hand in hand.
you're
Just
gonna
to
have to
track
do that. If not, you're gonna, when you run your accounting thing here, it's going to show that that department is woefully overexpended. And you-
Well, they are, right now, they're overexpended that much money, 15,000 in the building.
But if you amend the budget to change the revenues, which is what we usually do every year, you can make it come out even. If you actually have gotten that much more revenue, and I know you've gotten that
Well,
much more
see,
revenue.
if we
because you
don't
spent
do
it.
this, then we have to amend our budget through the state, which we don't want to get into that. If we do this ahead of time, she's anticipating this is what these costs are going to be. She's forecasting it out for
No, I have
this
no
month.
objection to that. I'm no objection.
Okay.
All I'm saying is,
So you think we need another column over here?
I think that Department 249-100 should all been amended as well to reflect the increases in revenues.
The income, yep.
And in the same amount that you are increasing the expenses.
So that they balance out.
I'll have to
No,
get you that answer.
Now, on all the other ones, usually you have to say when you amend a budget that you are transferring it from some location in the budget to another location.
Right.
Generally contingency funds, but not always. So all of these other ones, I mean, it shows $106,000, and there's no indication as to where in the budget that is coming from.
Okay,
Usually, when I've seen these before, it would say, increasing the bonds and insurance for such and such by $1,000, take $1,000 out of another big long line of numbers, which means contingency fund. It shows where each of the increase, where you're moving the money from. Some of it may come out of if you are getting unanticipated revenues in the general fund, then you would just show that it's coming out of the extra
Building
money in the general fund, but I would think you've got to show where it's coming from. Other
Okay.
than that, when you get down to the end of the year, it's not gonna, it's not gonna balance.
No.
You're gonna be
gonna be in a hole.
$106,725 out of balance because you have no offsetting revenue. Not that you don't have it, that you don't have it in the,
Well, some of these are not,
you don't
gonna-
have it
we're
in
not
here.
gonna have revenue for everything that we got here. We don't have increased revenue, only in the building department.
But it has to
but you
come
gotta
from
come from
somewhere.
somewhere.
gotta-
You've got to, where in the current budget are you pulling the
So where
money?
do you think it's coming from?
I don't know the answer to that. They didn't talk to me.
I think if she looks at that, I think she
Okay.
can figure it
Well,
out.
All right,
Yeah, you have, we have some contingency fund. We have items that we have decided not to spend this year, which can be transferred into other items.
only from one, we are departmental. Anything within the department section of the budget can be moved around to balance out the department. We're not line item budget, we're department budget. So anything in that department budget that's left that we didn't use, we can use that towards the bottom line. But she's saying that this is gonna exceed the bottom line, as in the park department. That they've exceeded their
Okay, well then,
revenues.
and then we are going to transfer some money into the budget of the
Correct.
department.
We're gonna try.
All I'm asking is, where is it coming from?
Yeah. So do you wanna hold up on this then?
What line, no, I don't, what line item, you're going to have to do that eventually. I mean, I agree with you, you're probably gonna have to do all of this, but you also have to do
Where it's coming
where
from.
where the money out of this budget, where is that going to fill this requirement?
Right, we need another column.
And now, I know we have other items that we budget for that we sometimes don't spend.
Well,
Okay?
Contingency
And
funds
it is
as well.
possible that that's a budget change, this board's capable of doing that, but we have to vote on it.
Yeah, and we didn't use the contingency fund. I think the one we have in there that comes out of me is $11,000. We didn't
You know, there's
use
some of this you're gonna take out of contingency fund, some of it you may take out of, I don't know what fund you have for.
it. Well, the
I'm
contingency,
not gonna try.
contingency funds don't have enough to pay
Yeah,
that
I
out.
know they don't. That means
Believe me, they don't.
some of the other items that we budgeted for at the beginning of the year, which we have decided not to do this year, those budgets need to be transferred into these departments so that, to cover these expenses.
Well, in essence, that's where it is coming. Whatever is left in a department at the end of the year goes into the general fund, and then we're just writing out of the general fund to get this $106,000. That's where it's gonna come from.
Okay.
But more may be going in than what's coming out.
Which line item of the general fund? All of our
Okay.
general fund monies have a line item someplace.
All right, I can get that.
No, I'm just saying, eventually, they're gonna have to do that, because the auditors are gonna make them do it. They need to look at how the transfers are going. It comes from here, goes to there.
Okay. All right, so you want to pass this like that, and then I'll get another report for or I can have it at the next meeting, whatever.
Well, they need to look at that to make sure that they have the balance, because you can't come to the end of the year with a
Take it to the next
$106,000 deficit.
You'd be in a hole.
So you want it on the next meeting?
I don't care, you gotta have it before the auditors, I know
Okay.
that, end of the year.
You want to make a motion that we table it and?
No, I make a motion that we accept the, I think already has been made a motion that we accept these. I'll support Resolution 717. I'm just telling you it's incomplete. There is more to it. There's the revenue side.
So can I get the revenue side for the next meeting? Is
Sure.
that what you're,
You don't
Yep.
need them together.
Yeah, you
We
can.
just need to do it by the end of the year.
okay. And we don't even know if we had to have this done by the end of the year. It's just more convenient to have it done so we don't get caught into amending our main budget with the state.
But you see what I mean? You have these budgets going to come out every week. It's going to show revenue and expenditures. You've just loaded the expenditure side. So when you go back here to the end, on every one of these, it's going to show you that you are grossly overexpended. But if you add the revenues back in, it won't show that.
All right, so I guess I'm not clear what you want to do. You want to accept this as is, or?
Yes, and then we want
Yeah,
to
you've
see
got to do this. I don't
Okay.
know.
the other side
But
next
you've
time.
got some more to do. They left a whole bunch
All
out.
right.
What do you want to say, accept it as with corrections, Ralph?
No, just like it is. I think what it is correct. It's just that there's more to this that's not. been
And I
presented.
will make, this is her first attempt at
Yeah,
doing
there's
it this
another
way.
line missing.
Before, we just had a motion and it didn't have it broke down where all this money was going or what. I mean, I looked at some of the
Just
other
had
ones.
dollar amounts.
Had dollars amount, but it didn't say where the stuff was coming from and that I see.
This is where it's going.
Yeah.
I also, the counterpart to this is where is it's coming from.
Okay, I'll get that for you, so, I guess,
Because I think you're gonna have, not only for us.
we gotta do this.
we're gonna have
Or
to-
we're gonna be
We're
short.
gonna have to
Right.
pass that because that's another amendment to the budget.
Okay,
When
I'll
we
get
amend
that,
the revenues.
I'll get that for the next meeting.
Yeah, we need to amend the revenues as well as amending the
Okay.
expenditures.
All right. So, we're not spending money here. Do we need a roll call on this?
Nope, just,
I wouldn't think so.
All right, any further discussion on this? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the announcements. Township offices will be closed December 24th and 25th for the Christmas, and December 31st, and January 1 for the new year. That's all the announcements we have. Moving on to member comments. Mr. Horn.
When they graded Springborn Road and Bryson Lane, I think they must have done a truck.
Didn't do spring.
They went over it awful light, they didn't get down into it.
Springborn's paved.
And it's bad.
Springborn's paved.
I mean,
Bryson?
Bryson
Recor?
and Recor.
Yeah, I talked to Mike, the DPW supervisor, and he told me they're having a heck of a time with that rain we had.
Well, it was so hard, and
And
I
it's-
think they
it's
just
just-
used the
they
truck and it
do
went
it too
over the
much, it
top.
just turns
Now
into
it's full of
slush.
holes.
Yeah, the holes come right back.
Yep.
So if this weather continues up, I'll have them look at Bryson, and what was the other road?
Bryson and Springborn,
Not Springborn,
Recor.
I mean Recor Road.
Recor out here, okay. I'll have them look at those two.
Yeah, they're pretty rough. That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Boda?
I have one item. Can we have the office type up a new roster sheet? Where we have names, phone numbers, addresses.
We have a new one.
We have a
I
new
had
one?
him do that. I'll get you a copy.
Okay.
I'll give it to Cindy when she comes in.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Ms. Graham?
I am good to go.
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Blackstock?
No.
Ralph? I don't have much, I don't think. As everybody knows, we lost Jack here in this, between our last couple of meetings, and he will be deeply missed for all the years that he put in here at the township. It's busy, we're doing the RBCs, we're working on the, we're just finishing up phase one over there at the sewer plant. They lit the flare, and something screwed up on it, they gotta get another part, so we're still, once we get the flare done, that'll close out the phase one, and then everything will be on the RBCs that we're working on, so that's coming right along. I think I talked about the paving we're doing, we cut some trees down in one park. The
Yeah, they cut all
DPW has
them
been,
apple trees down up in the
yeah,
park
that
up there.
beautification wanted that,
The trees are
up there, what do they call it, Memorial Park?
Memorial
Garden.
Park.
Yeah.
I thought they'd leave the apple trees and cut all them bushes
That's
down.
what they
That
wanted
looked
done, was
terrible.
the apple trees, because they're tired of picking up all the apples.
Give me the apple.
Huh?
Give me the apple.
You're too late. They had a bid for it, and our guys did it. Our DPW is doing a lot of work. But one thing I'm gonna be looking into and is, hate to say it, but another vehicle. I mean, we have our one guy that cuts all the satellite stations, you know, the museum, he cuts the township, he cuts all of our Manor Park, he cuts down by the Marwood. The truck he's driving, they got a jumper box in it. It's the oldest truck in the fleet, it's a 98, it's pretty bad. I'm not saying we have to buy a new one, somebody mentioned maybe we could buy a good used one, or maybe we can just buy a little the smaller pickup. It doesn't need to be a four-wheel drive, because they only use it in the summertime, you know. So I'm gonna look into seeing what we can buy economically to have that truck, so it's really not right. The guy's gotta have a jumper box, and the wiring's all screwed up on it. It's not worth putting a lot of money into it. One other thing I did is, as you know, we gave the sewer plant that Ford 350. We took that down there. And when Dion was here, he approached me he had brought all these quotes in about buying a snowplow for it. Now, that snowplow was $5,000. I was gonna bring it to the board. I didn't bring it. I did a lot of thinking about that. I'm thinking, why are we buying a snowplow just to plow the sewer plant? And we just paid $33,000 last year for another. We have two trucks with plows on.
That's, I said, I was gonna say, we got two
We have
trucks.
two, and they got a schedule, so I directed our DPW supervisor to get with the sewer plant supervisor and coordinate this. You know, we have priorities what we're gonna plow, like they wanna have the township hall plowed out by 8 o'clock. Maybe the sewer plant can be done at 7, I don't know.
Sounds like a plan.
They have that old dump truck down there that has a plow on it. Well, Dion told me that, well, we can't, that plow's no good, we can't. So we were gonna sell it on the dump truck. That's why you didn't see the dump truck on this. So, our new supervisor down there, Chuck, I told him, see if you can find out what it is to buy an adapter plate for that plow to go on this old Ford truck, this '06. And if you can do that, I would be willing to spend $400 or $500, you know, for a plate, and then let the guys put that plow on there and have that plow. And when we sell the truck, we'll just sell it without the plow. But I just couldn't see myself, especially with all this stuff we're doing with the China and East China agreement. I don't know if you guys are aware of all the work that's been put into that, a lot, and there's gonna be a lot put into it tomorrow. I have 2 meetings tomorrow about that. But if we spent $5,000 as the East China Board and bought that plow, and we don't get any more money for that truck we're giving them down there, $150 a month. And why should we spend $5,000 of East China's money for the Sewer and Water Authority? I know you guys sit on the board, so I say we just let
The
Blaine
sewer
and
plant
them.
does not need its own plow.
That's
You
what I
have,
said.
you have a DPW here in East China, which we are quite happy with its performance at the Sewer and Water Authority.
I think it'll work fine. You know, but if they get that plow down there, I'm willing to let them, you know, if they can adapt it for $500, I think it's money well spent for the
That sounds
township.
like you got a handle on it.
Yeah, as long as they can put down another truck and use it.
And everybody's on board with it, but I mean, I tried to do the history and find out why did they get a plow? And the only thing I can think of, when we gave them that old dump truck, it had the plow
Probably
on
had
it.
the plow on it, yeah.
And those guys are all gone now. Dion's gone, Mike's gone, and so, yeah, so that was one of the things I've been working on, so. Another thing, we had some hazardous waste that got moved from when they tore the water plant down, it got moved over to our Springborn Road site. And, in this cleanup, getting all this stuff, they found these 13 bags. It's a elm and some kind of chlorine, powdered chlorine. So we got to get a hazmat truck to move it, so I got some prices to get that out of there, and I actually called the Detroit Edison, and they hooked us up with some people, and they got a guy coming next week to pick up some of theirs, so they're gonna pick up ours.
Oh, good.
But it's still gonna cost us $1,000 to get rid of this stuff, but the other prices I had were closer to 2,000, so, I think it'll be a good deal, and partnering up with them and helping us out, so, thank you to Detroit Edison. With that, I guess that's all I have. I could go on and on with all the stuff I'm working on, but we don't have that kind of time. So I guess a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:44.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported that we adjourn at 8:44. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.